Let us talk now with Bryan Helmer, who just last week became the highest-scoring defenseman of all time at the American Hockey League level. Bryan these days playing for Oklahoma City, and Bryan joins us here this afternoon. How you doing, Bryan?
Good. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Well, thank you. Congratulations, first off, on this great record. You beat the record that John Slenny had held up until that point. Tell us about the last week and a half to 2 weeks in the life of Bryan Helmer and what that's entailed, because I understand you were back here in Ontario and you were sitting on the couch wondering whether or not that was it, and you got the call, I guess, to go to Oklahoma City, and you've picked up and gone down there pretty much and lit it up and put up some points.
Yeah, it's like you said, I was sitting at home in Ontario, in Westport, Ontario, and came Christmas time, and I kind of shaking my head. I was thinking about doing something else, and like you said, Oklahoma came calling, and I'm glad they did, because the last 2 weeks have been a lot of fun, and to get this record that I wanted was that much sweeter, so it's good to be back playing.
Bryan, you're quite a story, and so often American Hockey League players that love the game and continue to play. 6 games at Belleville, and all of a sudden you're back playing Tier 2A hockey for a number of years for Wellington and the Wellington Dukes, and then you get a call, and then you're in the American Hockey League for 5 years and never get a sniff with New Jersey. Perhaps you could revisit those days for us and kind of tell us what happened in Major Junior, and how did you ever get to the American League from Tier 2A hockey?
Yeah, I just, like you said, I played 6 games with Belleville and kind of didn't really get a chance there, and kind of got buried in Tier 2 Junior and in Wellington, and had successful years there, and it was well scouted by the NHL. And my last year I had a really good year, and got a professional tryout with New Jersey, and went down there, and went down to Albany and signed an American League deal, and got really lucky. I thought going into my last year of junior that it was going to be just my last year of hockey, and and I never gave up. I always wanted to become a professional hockey player, and it happened for me. So I always tell the young kids, never give up. And if you have that dream, sometimes it does come true. So it's a lot of hard work, and you got to sacrifice a lot. But when it comes true, it's pretty awesome.
Great story.
You played in 146 National Hockey League games as well. Was there a thought, and I'm sure there was, Bryan, but did you give serious thought to just calling it quits after last spring? You captained the Hershey Bears for 2 straight years to win the Calder Cup in 2 straight years as well, in 2 straight seasons, and one of the greatest American Hockey League runs, certainly in recent memory for sure. Was there a thought that, this is when it should end, this is when I want to go out on top, or did you have the records and the 1,000 game milestone that's also coming up for you perhaps in the back of your mind?
Well, it was funny because at the start of the playoffs last year, I had a little speech with my team, and I said, fellas, if we win another championship here, maybe I'll retire on top. But after we wanted, having that taste of winning again and having the record and 1,000 games in sight, I wanted to come back for one more year. And then, the summer came and the season started, and I was still at home, and I was kind of shaking my head saying, what did I do, or what should I do here? And I stayed positive. I still wanted to get a chance, and I stayed in shape, and got like I said, Oklahoma came calling, and I'm glad they did. So
it's real interesting too. You look at your team here. You're playing for Oklahoma City now in the last couple of weeks, and again, nothing will compare to what Hershey did the past couple of years. And I mean, your record last year was off the charts once again. Now you're sort of in a dogfight with the Oklahoma City club as well. Tell us about that battle. I mean, you're in a different mindset perhaps this time around, where you were home and cooled out perhaps by this point last season in the AHL with Mark French and company with the Hershey Bears, and now you're going to be in a dogfight, obviously, the second half of the campaign here.
Yeah, it's a good situation here. They've got a good team here. It's young. They haven't had success in the last couple of years in this organization, and coming into a team fighting for a playoff spot, it's every game's almost like a playoff game. So, it's exciting. I'm glad to be back playing. I love the game of hockey. I love being around the young guys, and I just love going out and competing. And whatever I can do to help this team win is what I'm trying to do. And just to bring my experience of winning the last 2 years to this team. just to put my input in on some of the things. And the guys here are young and they listen really well. So, it's a lot of fun. And like I said, it's a good bunch of guys here.
Well, I mentioned the 1,000 game plateau and milestone that's coming up for you. You're going to become only the 7th player in American Hockey League history to play in 1,000 games. We've talked about your perseverance. What is that milestone achieved going to mean for you?
Well, it's a big personal goal of mine. Where I came out of, like we talked about before, was Tier 2, and to play this many games in the American League, it's pretty nice. And I think someone said before is milestones come with age. So I'm glad I stuck around this long to hit this milestone. So been really fortunate to play on a lot of good teams and to stay healthy over my career. So like I said, it would be a good milestone, and I'm looking forward to reaching it.
Bryan, 1,000 games, all the buses, all the teams, all the heartache along the way. I got 2 questions for you. 1, what kept you going when those days looked pretty dark? And 2, what advice would you have for a young Tier 2A player, or a player that's knocking on the door, and what would you tell them?
Well, for one thing, I just tell them the one reason why I kept going in the American League was when I was in the NHL, my son wasn't old enough to remember, and he always kept saying to me, "Dad, are you gonna make it back to NHL?" And I'm like, "Well, son, I'm trying." But he was a big reason why I stayed over here instead of going to Europe. And when I did it 2 years ago, it was a big thrill for me and for him too, and also my wife and daughter too. So that was one of the reasons. But like I said, I love the game. I love to compete. I love to teach the young guys different things. And what I would say to young guys, never give up your dream. You work that much harder. I've had lots of people say, "Why don't you quit?" and "Why don't you retire?" But I don't want to do anything else in my life. I just want to play hockey. And if you have that mindset of working hard and having fun, you'll do all right.
Well, and you're still very productive, as you've proved once again here the past couple of weeks. It's a great story, Bryan. We wanted to bring this to light a little bit further. I know it's been a fun last couple of weeks for you here. Congratulations on recently becoming the American Hockey League's all-time top-scoring defenseman. And, we'll be looking here in the next couple of weeks for you to reach 1,000 games, and we wish you and your teammates nothing but the best. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
All right, Bryan Helmer of Oklahoma City